Unit 16, page 252. Read.
The Iceman. On September 19, 1991, two German tourists were hiking in the Alps between Austria and Italy when they discovered a corpse half buried in the ice. They assumed the body must have belonged to a mountain climber who had recently died as the result of an accident. They couldn't have imagined the truth. The body belonged to a man who had lived more than 5,000 years ago. Not only that, he might have been the victim of a brutal murder. Who was he? What was he doing in that remote location? How did he die? In the decades since this discovery, scientists have been trying to answer these questions. The ice preserved the body amazingly well. In fact, it is the oldest intact human body ever found. As a result, scientists from all over the world have X-rayed and examined him. The Iceman, as he is called, has become the subject of much speculation. Found in the ice, alongside the Iceman, were many objects. He had weapons: a copper axe, a knife, a bow, and arrows. Some of his clothing also survived: snowshoes, a coat, a belt, leggings, a cap. He also had a backpack and a bag, which contained some tools and dried mushrooms. These objects provide clues to the man himself and to what might have happened to him. The axe, for example, was very valuable, and it indicates that the Iceman may have been a very important and wealthy person in his community. At first, scientists believed that the Iceman must have died accidentally during a winter storm. However, in 2001, X-rays told another story. There was an arrowhead buried in the Iceman's left shoulder. The new theory was that he was the victim of a violent attack and must have bled to death as a result of this wound. Later examination discovered wounds to other parts of his body, including his head. This led to the speculation that he may have died from a head injury. Someone could have followed him up the mountain and attacked him while he was trying to run away. Then, in 2009, scientists discovered another clue to the mystery of the Iceman's death. A more powerful X-ray, a CT scan, showed a very full stomach. The Iceman had eaten a big meal just before his death, not the behavior of someone trying to run for his life. This led investigators to believe that the killer couldn't have been a stranger to the Iceman. He had to have known him. Could the Iceman have fallen and hit his head after the shot from the arrow, or did an attacker hit him over the head with a rock? Why were many of his arrows unfinished and not ready to use? Why didn't his attacker take the valuable axe? Theories about the Iceman's life and death have changed a lot over time as a result of advances in medical technology. And although much has been learned about him, there are still more secrets to learn from this amazing man, frozen in time for more than 5,000 years.
Unit 16, page 257. Pronunciation note.
In informal conversation, we often pronounce could have, may have, and might have as could have, may have, and might have. We often pronounce couldn't have as couldn't have.
This could have been a tool.
Or it may have been a weapon.
That's true. It might have been a knife.
It couldn't have been a weapon. It's not sharp.
Remember that you can also pronounce could have, coulda, and might have, mighta.
It could have been a tool.
It might have been a knife.
Unit 16, page 261. Exercise 5. Conversation 1.
What was that used for?
I'm not sure. It could have been a spoon.
Conversation 2.
I called Rahul yesterday afternoon, but there was no answer.
Oh, he might have gone to the museum.
Conversation 3.
Is Sarah still on Easter Island?
I'm not sure. She may have left already.
Conversation 4.
I think I saw John yesterday.
You couldn't have seen him. He's in Peru.
Conversation 5.
Do you agree with the author's conclusion?
I don't know. He might have been wrong.
Conversation 6.
Alice got an A on her archaeology test.
She must have been happy.
Conversation 7.
Could they have sailed that far in small boats?
Sure they could have. They were expert sailors.
Unit 16, page 263. Exercise 7. Conversation 1.
Wow, look at that. It's got a blade. And this looks like a handle.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a knife. It might have been some kind of tool, like a sickle.
A sickle? What's that?
It's a kind of farming tool, something people use to cut down high grass.
You mean like wheat?
Yeah, they could have harvested wheat with this.
Conversation 2.
That's a strange-looking design.
It sure is. It looks like an astronaut. You know, some people believe that astronauts from other planets visited ancient civilizations here on Earth. Who knows? People may have seen one of those astronauts and made a picture of him.
Well, I really don't know about that. Anyhow, what do you think people use this for?
Well, look at the hole. They may have worn it on a string around their necks for good luck or something.
That's right. They could have.
Conversation 3.
Hey, look at this ring. What do you suppose they used it for?
Good question. I guess it could have been part of a shoe.
Part of a shoe? What do you mean?
Like an eyelet, you know, the holes in a shoe?
Oh, you mean the holes for shoelaces?
Yeah, they could have pulled some kind of shoelace through the hole and then tied the laces.
I see what you mean.
Conversation 4.
That's beautiful. What do you think it came from?
Well, from the round shape and from the design, I'd say it must have been part of a vase.
Or it could have been a cooking or serving dish.
Yeah, the design looks like some kind of border.
It could have been part of the base.
No, it's too narrow for the bottom. It must have been part of the top, the neck. They could have poured water or soup out of this part.
You're right.
Conversation 5.
That looks like a pretty complicated tool.
Is it a pump?
A pump? I don't think so. I remember reading about something like this in one of our books. I think they could have used this to make fire.
Really? How would they have made fire with it?
Well, they could have had tinder inside the cylinder. That's this long, round part on the bottom, see?
Okay, I see. But what's tinder?
Tinder is something that burns easily, like dry leaves. Look, when they pushed this piece on the top down into the cylinder, it quickly compressed the air.
Compressed. That means it pushed it into a small space, right? And that made the air hot.
Right. So then the tinder could start to burn.
Incredible. How did they figure that out? They must have been very intelligent.
Yeah, really.
Conversation 6.
What's that you've got there? It looks just like a rock.
Yeah, it looks like a rock, but I don't think it actually is a rock. Someone must have made it.
You know, I think you're right. It couldn't have just formed like that naturally. Someone must have chipped away at it to produce all those different angles. What do you think it was used for?
I think it must have been used as some kind of tool.
They could have used it to cut hard material, like wood.
You mean like a hand axe?
Exactly, like a hand axe.